Take three. All right. So, here we are again, and here we are again. Been a couple years since we were at this spot, and the opposition wasn't so blatant last time. I mean, I guess at least this time the opponents of civil rights are being honest about their, legitimate and direct assaults. So, hey, that's something, right? So, anywho, we are going to go and drop right into Second Amendment. Because the first one, everybody pretty well knows that one, and they've all translated it to modern English, so nothing much to go over. You can speak freely and have whatever religion you like. Oh, right, yes. So we should really get down to the nitty-gritty and the heart of things first. You see, your civil or human rights are rights that exist by nature of your being. So, because you are born, you have rights. And these rights are, supposedly inalienable, but unfortunately, even here in the U.S., in many municipalities, cities, states, etc., your civil rights are restricted. Despite the fact that the Bill of Rights exists to protect those civil rights, which you have by virtue of being. So, now that we understand that your civil rights are not a thing given to you, so much as a thing you are born with, like skin, or the ability to cognitively process information, or, breathe. So, you have these things. I mean, you can defend yourself. You can speak freely. These things can only be stolen from you. So, bearing that in mind, let's continue. I'm going to break down the Second Amendment. Freaking eye. Got it. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to break down the Second Amendment for you. And I'm not going to edit that out. Because I don't do edits. Well, one of these days I will. But not yet. Anyway, the Second Amendment of the Bill of Rights of the United States of America. Now, when we take into account that these are human rights, you can, if you're a religious person, it works just as well as if you say your God-given rights. Human rights, God-given rights, civil rights. Call it what you like. These are the things you are born with that can only be stolen from you or denied you. So, the whole thing is a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So we have three things here to take into account. We have the collective declaratory subject, the militia, being of a well-regulated variety. Now, we have to fall into the vernacular of the day, because this is a legal document, and therefore is written in legal terms. Not today's legal terms, mind, but legal terms nonetheless. Now, well-regulated in the vernacular of its day would mean equipped and or trained. So, this militia being well-equipped or trained, and this militia being necessary to the security of a free state, this is a nominative absolute. This is this collective militia. The rights of anyone who would be a member of said militia, or shall we say, the rights of the people, not so much members of the militia, because this would rely on statements made in the Federalist Papers, which tell us that the militia is composed of, well, again, using the vernacular of the time, all free men. Now, we have since, come to understand things as more complicated than that. Just By men, we mean man. So, now, the right of the people to keep and also to bear arms, this is the individual subject of the nominative absolute, shall not be infringed. What this does, it enshrines or confirms those existential rights that you as a being have. So, we'll hop back onto the Federalist Papers real quick. I don't have any handy, but the best I can say it is all peoples that are citizens of the United States of America are, by default, if they are able-bodied, members of the militia. Now, that's actually kind of secondary to the subject here. So, we'll hit onto this with a really simple statement. A healthy breakfast being necessary to the start of a good day, the right of the people to keep and eat food shall not be infringed. So we look at that and we say, well, obviously a healthy breakfast isn't the thing to which these rights are declared. A healthy breakfast is a thing that a person, the person to whom the right is given, needs for a healthy day or a good day. So there we are. It's really quite simple using modern terms, but these are not legal terms. So again, falling back onto the legal terms of this, how about we just read out the preamble to the Bill of Rights? The conventions of a number of states having, at the time of their adopting the Constitution, expressed a desire, in order to prevent misconstruction or abuse of its powers, that further declaratory and restrictive clauses should be added, and as extending the ground of public confidence in the government will best ensure the beneficent ends of its institution. So, these are, I say so a lot. So, shall not be infringed the right of the people to keep and bear arms. So that those people whose right to keep and bear arms are able to form a well-regulated militia to secure the freedom of the state. Not much more to it than that. It's just that no one really likes to break this down because the terms are quite absolute. And personally, I would argue that that line rests somewhere around biological warfare. So, that's me. But every person should be able to be as well equipped as any person in the military. It's as simple as that. That is the very purpose and nature of that amendment. So as to ensure that the rights you are born with are not stolen from you. Unfortunately, these rights have been made alienable in some places. And that is a terrible, terrible tragedy. So let's all work to get it back, yeah? Everywhere if we can. I mean, we look at the assault weapons ban. They had to fudge the numbers so that they could say that it did anything. 94 to 2004, there was a marginal increase in overall gun-related homicides. So we know that these things do nothing. There's a young fellow by the name of Kyle Kashuv who's made some suggestions that would have saved lives. I don't necessarily agree with all of them. I certainly don't agree with these extreme violence protection orders. But had one been issued to this fellow, well, honestly, I'm sure the Broward cowards would have just, looked the other way and not cared. But, in a place where the city isn't run by inept and or corrupt people, some of these things could really help. Save lives, theoretically. But anyway, some food for thought, and my understanding of that inalienable civil right that we cannot give up or lose. All right, all my heart, all my love. See you soon. Have a happy Easter.